Okay. So will you go into witness box?
Morning.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
So your name is Guy News?
Yes.
Sorry?
Guy News.
Guy.
Yes.
Nurse President Cole.
No. Nurse as in the hospital.
Nurse as in?
The hospital nurse.
That's well described.
And are you a superintendent of police in the Guyana Police Force?
Yes, I am.
You were served with a summons on the 2nd of December 2002 to attend this morning at the Commission of Inquiry.
Yes.
And it is in answer to that summons that you are here.
Yes.
I'm going to show you the summons. You have a look at it and indicate to me whether that is a copy of the document with which you were served.
Yes.
Might this Might this be admitted as GN1? And you subsequently gave a statement in this matter today,
Yes.
and you initialed and signed it.
Yes.
And if you see it again, you'll be able to identify it.
Yes.
A document is being placed in your hand. Is that the statement
Yes.
which you gave? Might that be marked as GN2? Copies for the commissioners. Could you indicate what is your regimental number?
15567.
And where are you now stationed?
Police Regional Division, number 5.
In March 2020, where were you stationed?
As the officer in charge of the Tactical Services Unit.
And where was that unit based?
Unit is based at Police Headquarters, Iglery.
And who has the authority to give instructions to that unit?
Commissioner of Police.
In March 2020, was your unit on standby?
Yes, it was.
Were ranks from your unit on standby at the Brickdam police station?
Yes.
And who deployed them there?
I did, on the instruction of the Commissioner of Police.
Can you recall the 5th of March 2020?
Yes.
And is it on that day that you received instructions from the then Commissioner of Police?
Could you be more specific?
Okay, so you said in your statement, let me show you paragraph 4. You take a quiet read of paragraph 4.
Yes.
Yes. So you deployed a unit to go to Brickdam on standby.
Yes.
Now, around what time did you receive those instructions on the 5th of March 2020?
Those instructions weren't being received on the 5th. It was received before, because as part, it was the election period, and as part of the forces plan, the unit would be on standby at Brickdam because it was the election period. So it wasn't only the 5th, but even before election, on election day, the unit would be on standby every day until so advised not to do so. So
Okay.
it wouldn't be the 5th of June.
So the unit was there from election day right up to
Right
the 5th?
up to, yes. Every day they would go,
Mhm.
standby, evening, coming back, standby still, and the next day it continues like that until we are instructed otherwise.
Okay. Now, at that point in time, the Guyana Police Force had a public order unit, correct?
That wouldn't be the Guyana Police Force. For each division, it's supposed to have a public order unit.
So, does each division fall within the Guyana Police
Yes.
Force?
So each division would have their own public order unit. It wouldn't be one unit.
When I use the phrase public order unit, are you familiar with it?
Yes.
Is it a different unit from your
Yes.
tactical services
Yes, it
unit?
is. Yes, it is.
Does the tactical services unit command the public order units?
No. The tactical services unit commands riot units.
So then, the public order unit and the riot unit, are they the same or they're different?
They're configured different.
They're different.
Their uniqueness is that the public order unit is unarmed. Unarmed, while the riot unit is armed.
Okay.
That would be one very unique feature. The numbers will also be different. And being unarmed means that they wouldn't have anything that a riot unit would have. That's the public order unit. They would basically just have baton, shields, and protective gear.
Public order unit.
Public order unit
But the riot unit would be armed.
would be armed.
Thank you.
And ranks of the public order unit are trained to specifically deal with public disorders such as protests and so on, correct?
Yes.
Now, you told us that instructions had been received for ranks to go to Brickdam. Now, which officer was heading the ranks that you sent to Brickdam?
Deputy Superintendent Clifton Davis.
And from your statement, you are saying that what has to happen when your ranks go to Brickdam, they are supposed to report to the commander of that particular division,
Yes.
and the commander of that particular division was then Assistant Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Did you give instructions to Deputy Superintendent Davis to go to Ashman's building to escort the chairman of GCOM from that building on the 5th?
No.
Did Davis ever tell you that he had received such instructions?
No.
Can you recall at about what time those ranks from the TSU based at Brickdam returned to base on the 5th?
After 6 p.m. in the evening.
Just one moment, yes. When did you become aware that TSU ranks had gone to Ashman's building. When for the first time did you become aware of that?
That would be maybe after, in the evening when they came back, after they returned to TSU, they had to go back. That is the only time I would have known. Have to be after that. I wasn't aware that they moved from Brickdam
Ashman's.
to move the GCOM commissioner.
No, the Ashman's building.
No.
You were not aware.
I would not be
until
aware
they
because-
returned to headquarters to
Right.
base. That would be around 6 p.m. the evening.
Right, and I didn't even got the opportunity to talk to them when they returned, as you would see later on. Right, because remember, during that time they would be under the command of the
Division.
commander of 4A, Assistant Commissioner Thomas.
But that is why there were Ashman's.
Yes,
But the directive to move from Brickham's
from Brickdam to
to
Ashman.
Ashman did not emanate from you.
No, sir.
And you did not know about it until they returned later.
Yes, sir. I didn't know.
You were based at Tivleri,
All the time.
and the unit was on standby at Brickdam.
Brickdam. Correct.
So, unless you are specifically told, you wouldn't know.
No, because at the time, remember, I'm running the tactical service unit, where I'm dealing with other duties also.
Where?
I was dealing with other duties also at
I
the
see.
time.
Yes. Okay.
So I wasn't at, wouldn't know what is going on in the other divisions that the unit will be deployed to.
Unless you are
Unless
specifically
somebody
told.
call me or tell me something.
But, sorry, again, Superintendent, would you not have expected Deputy Superintendent Davis to inform you of the movement from Brickdam to Ashman in the normal course of things?
To be honest, like you said, it's a fluid,
Expect you to be.
if it's a fluid exercise, I wouldn't expect that because, let me say, remember, it's a riot unit. So if they're dealing with a riot, they wouldn't have the time to call me, inform me ball by ball what is going on. In fact, they will be on the network and I would be able to follow on the network if they transmit on the
But
network.
as far as you are aware, was there a riot at Ashman building that day?
No, I don't have that knowledge that there was a riot.
And up to today, you cannot see that there was any riot
No,
warranting tactical unit presence.
no, I would say that there was no riot because the word riot is a big word.
That's a small
And I
riot.
know it's 4 letters, but it's big and it defines what should happen because the riot, I mean, if the research is done or evidence is brought, it will tell you how the riot unit operates.
Thank you.
So tell me, Mr. Nurse, you spoke of being able to hear transmissions on a network. I assume you're speaking about the police radio system.
Right.
And from anything you heard on that, on the transmissions passing during the day, you never heard anything about a directive, an instruction to go to the Ashman's
No,
building?
sir,
Nothing at all?
because that would have answered the question.
Yes, of course.
Already.
I
if
appreciate that,
I-
yes. Thank you.
Yes, Ms.
Thank you. So just to be clear, you would have heard nothing via radio transmission, first of all, about your ranks from TSU going to Ashman's building, correct?
Correct.
And you would have heard nothing on the radio transmission as to why they were going there, correct?
Correct.
What,
And you say you gave no instructions to Mr. Davis to take the ranks there,
Yeah,
to the Ashman's building?
Yes, in relation to the movement of the,
No, for any reason.
no, but later on, I would got to get them instruction in my statement. Coming down to the bottom of the statement of another.
No, that's another event.
Yeah, another event.
Yes. Okay.
We're speaking about the first event that
You gave no instructions
Right.
In relation to.
going from Brickdam to Ashman.
Yes.
Now, in answer to the chairman, you said that it may not have been necessary for Officer Davis to communicate with you before going to Ashman's, or words to that effect,
Right.
correct? Well, when they returned to headquarters, after having gone to Ashman's and having escorted the chairman out and so on, are the ranks, or is the officer in charge of the ranks required to make an official entry of what activities they had participated in?
Well, as again in the function of the right unit, every action taken by the right unit should be recorded, because on the right you got somebody they refer to as the bugler recorder.
The what?
The bugler recorder.
Bugler.
Recorder / recorder doing two functions.
Uh-huh.
So the word recorder means that the recorder would record what the unit does. For example, right unit moving from Brickdam to Ashman, the recorder should have time they move from Brickdam to Ashman. Arrival at Ashman, you should have time arrive at Ashman. What transpired at Ashman, that should also be recorded.
So the bugler recorder is one of the ranks.
One of the ranks of the right unit.
Can you now recall if, I beg your pardon, I think the chairman has a question.
Yes, my question, Mr. Nurse, would be, when the unit returned to base that evening after Ashman, were you briefed by Deputy Superintendent Davis about the activities that earlier that day?
Yes, this after the last event.
Not the last event.
No,
I'm dealing with the.
no, he didn't have the time to do that.
No.
No, sir.
What I'm asking you is whether you were briefed by him,
No, sir.
and you did not ask him what prompted the unit going to Ashman's building.
I would not have known, so
Oh, no, you did not
ask
know.
him. So I
Yes,
could not
you did.
ask.
Yes, and he did not brief you. Thank you.
But tell us, Mr. Norris, did you eventually see records of the bugler recorder?
Well, I can't recall if I would have checked it, but I know that would be part of the record, but to check it.
And so those
specifically
records should be available.
should be available.
Well, it's 2020, March.
Yes, it should. If it is placed in the record, it should be.
Yes, and those records would be kept where?
At the TSU.
At TSU.
The nature of the records, the bugler recorder would make these notes in what usually?
In a pocketbook. Or you go up with something to write it on.
And is that then transferred onto a ledger or something? So I'm just trying to ascertain, the official record would be what?
Well, it should be.
No, usually.
Usually it should be in the official record. It should be placed, because remember, you put it on a, let me say, a pad or
Or a paper.
you got to put it in something official.
That's what I'm
So it
asking.
can be kept.
Which is a ledger.
Yes.
There's an official ledger,
Yes, it should be official ledger.
and it would contain a whole list of activities over a period of
Right.
time until the ledger is filled. Is that right?
Yes.
So when you speak about the ledger, you're talking about the station diary.
Not necessarily.
Well,
It
how do
could
you
be the
call
diary,
it?
it
How
could
do
be the
you
diary,
call
or
it?
it could be a book that they write it physically.
What is the official record at TSU called?
Well, it would be the movement of the right unit. That they could make a ledger name such thing, the movement of the right unit.
That would be,
Or something concerning the right unit should be on the ledger. Or
Occurrence book?
Or no, not the occurrence. Could be the occurrence book also, or you can put in the diary.
Tell me what it was called in March of 2020.
But I can't recall which of the book they use.
What do the standing orders say in relation to how that book should be called? Which book is that?
Well, as I said again, you can establish a specific book for the movements of the right unit during that time because there might be so much activities that to put in direct the time wouldn't be.
No, sir, follow
So
me.
you can establish a book, as I say.
What, do you
named-
mind waiting for me to ask you the question properly before you continue? What I'm asking you is this. Do your standing orders refer to a particular book which is the record, the official record for the activities of the TSU or any other unit?
No, I can't recall it right now.
You can't recall if the standing orders
See, this
provide
cannot
for
have
that.
that. I can't recall.
But you're telling us that there were options for the keeping of the record.
Yes,
So it could have been recorded in the station diary,
yes,
in an occurrence book,
yes.
or something described as the riot unit movement record.
Movements.
So there were three possibilities.
Yes, they have the possibility because at the TSU don't have an occurrence book because it's not a station. But you can still establish
You can
an
create one.
occurrence book.
Yeah.
But officially, based on the configuration of the force, the TSU don't have an occurrence book per se.
What I'm trying to, sorry, I'm
No,
not.
go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm trying to understand is what was the process followed in March of 2020? So ranks come in, they have completed activities, forget Ashman's building for the time being. They have completed activities, they have to make a record somewhere. The bugler recorder has to transfer his information into some record. What is that called?
Well, those are the options that we're speaking of. It could have been done right in the diary.
No. What, not options. What was?
I cannot recall which book they put it in.
Okay.
But it could have been any of those records.
Mr. Norris, you were the officer in charge of the TSU.
Yes.
What is your understanding if the riot unit is called out on an exercise? An entry has to be made somewhere.
Yes.
Where would it have been made?
So the movement of the right unit leaving TSU, diary. Return to TSU, diary. That diary, or if they use the make up an occurrence book for that, would have what time the right unit leave and what time the right unit return.
and what about activities at the location?
Yes.
Where would you, as a superintendent in charge, expect to find those records?
Well, either the diary or the book that they decide to use to make those records.
Okay.
It will got to be between those.
Now, you said that these ranks had returned to base. Was this sometime after 6 p.m.?
Yes.
Did you receive a call from anyone?
Yes, from the Commissioner of Police,
The then Commissioner of Police, who was?
Leslie James.
And what did the Commissioner say to you?
He instructed that the unit should go to Ashman building and assist in securing the building.
Well, let me see. Would you look at paragraph 6 of your statement?
Yes.
In paragraph 6, you said the unit must go to Ashman's building to deal with a situation, correct?
Yes.
Well, those are the exact words, Mr. Yes.
I can't recall if those were the exact words.
Because to deal with the situation and to clear the building, two different things altogether.
Oh, it's secure the building.
Secure the building.
Yes. So.
Well, what do you recall?
Well, I would say that I would go with was to secure the building.
Secure the building.
Yes.
My understanding of an instruction to secure the building, I would think that means close the windows, make sure they're locked, make sure the doors are locked. That is what I understand securing a building to mean. Evicting persons from a building would be evicting persons from the building. Is it your understanding that that falls within an instruction to secure a building?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily because
But then what instructions did you give to your unit?
to report the Ashman building to the senior person there, who was Assistant Commissioner Thomas at the time.
So you did not say for what purpose? You just said report
Yes.
ECP Thomas.
Yes, because that is the protocol.
That's the
Because
protocol.
he will have to instruct them what to do when they go there. Even though I would have gotten instruction to do something, they still have to report to the most senior person
On the ground.
who will have to brief them on the ground what it is. Because if I give them an instruction, it might be the wrong instruction.
No.
A specific instruction.
You received this instruction from your commissioner.
Right.
You relayed those instructions to Davis.
Right.
Thomas, as far as you are aware, is not aware of those instructions. As far as you are concerned, at the time.
I wouldn't know
Right, so you
that.
don't.
I wouldn't know if
He's aware or otherwise.
because as again, we going back to how the right unit is deployed, is that they have to have some kind of request. I would use the word request. If I'm a commando and I have a situation, and based on the situation that I have, I can make a request for the unit to
So
be
in the
there.
normal course of things, Miss, you would think that the request would have come from the commander,
Most naturally.
most naturally.
Did you give Mr. Davis a specific instruction that he must report to, I think he was Assistant Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
at the Ashman's building?
Yes.
That was a specific
That was
instruction
specific.
from you
Yes.
to Davis.
That is correct, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the unit which, after receiving the instruction from the Commissioner of Police, the then Commissioner of Police, to have ranks go over to Ashman's building, what I want to ask you is about how many ranks went across or were sent across.
A unit is comprised of 32 ranks and you have 2 drivers.
And these ranks were all armed when they
Yes.
left headquarters.
Yes, they will be
Now you say you later received a call from DSP Davis.
Yes.
What did he tell you?
He told me he reported to Assistant Commissioner Thomas, who informed him that he was negotiating with the people there on a way forward.
So did Davis tell you, sorry, I beg your pardon.
No, go ahead.
Did Davis tell you that his ranks had gone into the building and had been in touch with persons at GCOM?
Not at that time.
When did he tell you
Because-
that?
That would be after they returned to the TSU.
Just a second, let's clear up one issue at a time. So they returned, and what did he tell you about liaising with people at GCOM?
I have to speak first of what happened when Davis called me.
No, at what stage did Davis call you?
Soon as he reached and reported to Mr. Thomas, he called me. He said Mr. Thomas told him he was negotiating with the persons there on the ground on a way forward.
Right.
After that, I called the commissioner immediately and let him know what Davis reported to me. And the commissioner said, okay, he will contact Mr. Thomas, and that was it.
All right. So, and all of that is in your statement?
Yes.
Right. So what I'm asking you is, what did Davis say about his interaction or conversations with people from GCOM?
He didn't say anything.
Well, you just told us that he did, sir.
No, I didn't say that.
You said when Davis returned that night,
Yeah.
he told you about having spoken to people from GCOM. You said that 2 minutes ago.
No, I didn't say he spoke to people at GCOM.
You
What
don't.
did he tell you? He said, Mr. Mills,
No, I didn't say he spoke to people at GCOM.
Mr. Davis returned.
When he returned,
Yes,
there's a final return.
the final return.
Good. All he said that the building was secured, and that was it.
That's all he told you. The
Yes.
building was secured.
Just, I'm being honest, the next time I saw what happened at Ashman building is in a video. It's in a video on, I think, on one of the social media.
What did you then do?
That was sometime after I didn't have to do anything.
Did you
What?
ask Davis what he had done? Did you then approach
No, I
him?
saw it on the video.
Well, I know, but as a senior officer, most senior officer, I would have
But at that time, the commissioner of police is in control of the situation, of the whole situation.
No, but you are still, the commissioner of police has command of the police force, overall command. You have command of a particular unit.
Right.
Something is brought to your attention, or you see something on social media that seems to be not consistent with what Davis said to you. Is that correct? What you saw on social media?
I wouldn't say it wasn't consistent. He said he secured that his duty was complete, the building was secured.
On what you saw on social media that you said?
Well, I saw him escorting, clearing the building, I would say, asking persons to leave. I think it is clear on the social media. That's what I saw.
Mr. Nurse, did you think that it was necessary, after the commissioner spoke to you, to have the unit returned to the Ashman's building? Did you think it necessary, even as a matter of courtesy, to get in touch with Assistant Commissioner Thomas to advise him that the unit was returning to the Ashman's building, and why?
And I would just add, bearing in mind what you said is the main function of the unit.
Sir, with all due respect, there's not a line of communication. If the commissioners detail the unit, the most I can do is ensure that they know that they have to report to the person in charge on the ground so they can be properly briefed. Because in fact, I can say it honestly, sometimes I call in, not this situation, sometimes I call in a commander to tell him something might amount to giving instructions. So commander's been allowed to brief the unit as to why you want them there.
Okay, well, let's take that answer. Did the commissioner say to you that you were to advise whether or not you should advise Assistant Commissioner
No,
Thompson?
sir. No,
He
sir.
did not tell
I
you.
did not tell him.
Then why did you tell Davis that he should report to the commander?
Because that is the protocol. That is the SOP.
Well, would it have been in breach of the SOP if you, as a matter of courtesy, had called him?
No, it wouldn't have been in breach, but
But then why didn't you?
because at that time I didn't see it, as what I should do. Because to be honest, I thought it was just a simple exercise. They go in there, report to Thomas, and he would tell him what he wanted him for.
No, Thomas never requested them.
I wouldn't know that neither.
But you know that the commissioner is saying they must go.
Right, because
And he is the man on the ground. You are in charge of a unit that is being sent. And you, Davis would have been of a rank junior to Mr. Thomas.
That is why he should report to Mr. Thomas to be briefed.
So if
I'm
we
sorry.
examine,
Yes.
if we examine the reality of this situation, a junior rank goes to an assistant commissioner of police and would say to him, I come here to secure this building.
So that is why it goes back to the request. That is why it goes back.
To what request?
That the commander ideally should be the person making the request for the unit.
Mr. Nurse,
And I wouldn't have known if the commander didn't, maybe that coming out now here.
well, that is what I'm asking you.
Or I wouldn't know if he didn't make a request.
So, do you know now, as you give evidence today, whether the commander made a request or otherwise?
No, sir.
Up to now, you don't know.
I don't know that. I was never briefed or privy to any information. I never had any conversation with Mr. Thomas, so I wouldn't know.
So this is the first time we're hearing it.
Yes,
Maybe here.
that he didn't make such request.
So, pursuing this issue, TSU ranks were being sent there on the instructions of the then Commissioner of Police.
Yes,
Only the police could properly have made such a request of the Commissioner.
yes, the commander, to be specific.
Only the commander
Only
could have
the
made
commander.
such a request of
Yes.
the Commissioner.
Yes, when the commander
Thank you.
is his division.
Thank you, sir. Yes,
A few questions, please, Mr. Nurse. I think you answered this, but I just wish to be clear. You say that the commissioner called you and asked you to deal with the situation.
No, I didn't say
But
that.
in your statement, you say, I received a paragraph 6, if I can just show it to you. Paragraph 6. On their return to the base at some time after 6 p.m., I received a call from the then Commissioner of Police, Leslie James, who said that the unit must go to Ashman's building to deal with the situation.
Yes.
Did he say what that situation was?
Well, then it come down in the next sentence where, if my memory recalls right, that was to secure the building.
So when he says deal with the situation, he meant
The situation is securing the building. Yes.
that was the situation.
Yeah, that was the situation.
Okay. Now, moving on from that, you say that the only instruction you gave Davis was to go and secure the building, or to report to the commander.
Captain, no, I didn't give him the instruction to
You say
secure the building.
You say report to the commander.
commander.
Good. So he then gets there and he calls you and he says, the commander says he's negotiating
Yes,
with the people on the way forward.
on a way forward.
But you knew nothing of that because all you knew was that the commissioner had said secure the building.
Right.
Did you then ask him, what are you talking about, Mr. Davis?
Right away, when he told me that, I said, hold on. I called the commissioner right away.
One step at a time.
Yes.
One step at a time, slowly. I'm just trying to understand. This is an inquiry.
Right.
To find out. When he said, when Davis reported to you that Thomas said, I'm negotiating with the people on the way forward. As an intelligent man, an officer in charge of the tactical services, your instructions was to your instructions on the commissioner was to secure. Did you ask Davis, man Davis, what negotiating with who? What are you talking about?
But he's saying that Thomas was negotiating with the people.
Which people?
There is the officials and the
So
persons
he
in the
explained
building.
all of that to you.
In the person in the building he was speaking to. And the way forward, what I understand coming from him was that he was working out something with them. Because at that time I felt they wanted the people to come out of the building.
But all of this was explained to you by Davis.
Well, some of it I understand after. But at the time Davis did say that he was working something out with the people in relation to them being in the building.
But you see what's curious to me is that you said you jumped on the phone right away to report this to the commissioner. But I would think before doing that you had to try to understand what the man was talking about.
But those were the exact what negotiate. I understand what negotiated.
So I'm asking you, did you ask him further questions? Well, what's happening? Did you say, Mr. Davis, I thought that we were just there to secure the building. What are you talking about and negotiating?
Sir,
is there a situation?
Mr. Thomas was in charge of that operation.
I think I get your drift. Thank you.
Right.
Now, you said when your ranks went to Ashman's building during the first part of the day, basically you had not been aware that they had gone there until afterwards.
Yes.
Now, on this occasion, you know that they are going to Ashman's building, correct?
Yes.
So I take it you had been monitoring via radio what had been happening at Ashman's building. Is that correct?
Not fully, but partly. Not.
Why not fully?
Yeah, because it was a normal, what we would say, normal operations were going on at Ashman building.
To go and
They had nothing
to deal with a
untoward.
situation at a returning officer's office was normal.
I wouldn't know that.
You didn't know that Ashman's building housed the office
Yeah,
of the
but I-
return. Could you allow me to finish my question, please? Did you not know that Ashman's building housed the office of the returning officer for District 4 for the March 2020 elections?
Yes.
So, were you not, having received a direct instruction from the commissioner to send ranks there, were you not monitoring what your ranks were doing when they got there?
No, I could not have monitored him at the time.
Did they carry radios with them?
Yes, he had a radio.
And we do know that at least one person, Deputy Superintendent Davis, had a cell phone.
Yes,
And you spoke to him on the cell phone.
yes.
Well, when they returned, you not having fully monitored while they were there, did you check the notes that they made as to what they had done when they went there?
I didn't check the notes at that time.
Do you know whether notes were recorded in the official ledger, diary, record, however you may call it?
I can't recall that right now.
These are my questions for this witness.
Nothing.
No, nothing more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're relieved of that. Yes, so thank you. You can read. You're relieved.
Commissioners, these are my witnesses for today. This week, we have witnesses who are being called via summons. So essentially, I am at the pace of the return date on those summons.
But do we have, if I may ask, do we have a definite witness for tomorrow? Or we're not sure yet?
I think we have 5 summonses which were served on persons to attend tomorrow. I have no indication that they will fail to show in answer to the summons.
So you're hopeful? You're
Yes.
hopeful that they will
Yes,
obey
I
the
will
summons?
try to ascertain before the end of the day, of course, because I also have to make time to schedule them and to advise the commissioners.
Thank you. This version arises till tomorrow morning at 9.